Hello and welcome to WooHooYa Studios and Garden for this spring walkthrough and music listening party of some of the new music and a special guest. I'm so happy you're here and thank you. We'll probably spend, I'm guessing, an hour. I'm not sure how long it's going to be, but I will do my best to keep you entertained and interested in all things 𝗪𝗪𝗂 and WooHooYa. So I thought we'd start with some music and we'll go out and do some garden, come back in, do some more music, some garden, some music, and mix it up that way. And hopefully I can respond to some of your comments in the chat while we are together for this wonderful moment in time of sharing. And again, thank you for being here. I'm going to start, before we go out into the garden, with an excerpt of one of the new songs on the new album, What Have I Forgotten? And this song is called Fanciful. I've written to you, if you're on my email list, about all of these songs, and I've sent you lyrical excerpts and descriptions about the making of, and you've been, I love hearing from you, all the incredible responses. Thank you so much. So if you're not getting that, just drop me a DM or go to music.𝗪𝗪𝗂.com. and you can opt in and get these email reports. I send something every week, or try to, every couple of weeks at the latest, with personal messages and behind the scenes insights into this whole process. I've been working on this album now for over 2 years. And as you know, I'm also writing a book that accompanies it because I realized this music on this album is, there's got a lot of layers, and I needed to explain some of the spiritual principles that are underneath each of the songs. It's actually a whole spiritual alchemy from one song to the next to the next. And I'm so excited about the book too. I'm writing it, I'm illustrating it, and I'm in the process of doing that as we speak, as we're working on the final mixes of the songs. So this first one is Fanciful that I'm going to share with you. And it's a song that was inspired by the garden, which is why I thought it was the perfect song for a garden day. And Fanciful is really about fairy time, that being however you want to think about fairy time, that childlike awe and wonder where you're just in the moment and all time and all other worlds recede into the background. And there's a magical quality to it. And nature is so much a part of that. And that is what I wanted to capture in this song. So I'm going to play you right now just an excerpt, an isolated track of some of the parts that I'm really excited about when I put this song together. Because I used my H9, which is this effects unit right here. It's kind of plugged into all this stuff I can't. So I ran my voice through the H9 and I got all these really cool sounds. And so I started, after I laid down the basic loop of this, let me mute this and go here. I laid this down first. And that to me just sounded like fanciful fairyland. And then after I laid that in, I started playing around with some of these H9 sounds and working with writing the melody and the lyrics. And then I wanted to make vocal sounds that were not quite vocal, but were somewhere in the netherworld of instrumental and vocal, because that's also very fairy-like. And that wonderful grasshopper sound. This one. Okay, so that was made vocally using the H9 as these kind of the fairy voices in the background of the lead vocal, the protagonist in the song, who's singing about why not be fanciful? And let's do all these wonderful fanciful things. We're going to put flowers on a pit bull. We're going to wear beads and fur and pearls on our blue jeans, promenading through the garden. It's all these ideas and things that I've actually done, by the way. So this is the I'm going to play you the final verse that goes into what I call the orchestra of insects. And the orchestra of insects is very near and dear to my heart because I wanted to have this quality. Because you know, when you're out in nature, it is like an orchestra when you stop and listen. If the grasshoppers are singing, or the cicadas, obviously the birds, the sound of the breeze. If there's water, you can hear it flowing, and it all creates this ambiance that adds to that moment of awe and wonder of what's so fanciful. So this is the final verse that goes into the orchestra of insects that has Fran on piano with a part that we kind of co-wrote together. Bass is Ray Schaefer. I'm on these vocal things. I also played a rake as a percussion instrument, and then these various other percussion instruments that we added, plus like an oboe to make it kind of orchestral. And I was thinking of those, like the Debussy, or the early 1900 pastoral world of pastels and just endless summer afternoons. So this is Fanciful. Oh, by the way, I'm going to hold up lyrics for you so you can read along and get what the lyrics are too. You ready? Okay, here we go.
Why not be fanciful and paint a painting using leaves? To 𝗪𝗶𝗃𝗲 fragilis acacia, sprigs and stems and sticks and twigs dipped in green. I'll hang it up for all to see under my willow tree. Swaying chandelier in the breeze, this special place and me.
So this is the rough mix of this. And I'm hearing already we need to turn up that oboe track. But there, when you mix something, it's not just even the balancing of the parts. You have to go through and EQ all the things so that you don't have one part conflicting with the other, because that's when a mix gets muddy, right? When you have conflicting frequencies. So we literally have not even touched this mix-wise. This is literally totally rough. Like, we haven't even worked on the vocal EQs or anything. But I wanted to share it with you because what better song to evoke WooHooYa gardens than Fanciful, which was directly inspired by being in the garden. So come with me right now and let's do some garden. Come with me into WooHooYa Gardens. And we'll start at the beginning and go to the very end, along with some music along the way. Okay, here we go. So, remember I told you about the wisteria? Well, it's just about on its way out, which always makes me so sad. But here we are at the beginning with jasmine, which is a little early, I think, this year, but as the wisteria was too. But the smell is incredible. And, oh, I want to show you something. When I was in Mexico making the video for Song of Sirens, I found this piece of coral that looks to me just like a mermaid. So come, there it is. Isn't that cool? Doesn't that look just like a mermaid? So that's one of the little secret niches. There's all these little cute little niches here. Another one I wanted to show you is the elf. He's a relatively new addition to the WooHooYa garden. This is my personal little elf. And here is this gorgeous wisteria that unfortunately is already turning green. This bakery sign I found in the bowels of the house when we were first refurbishing it. And actually the guy who was working on it was going to throw it away. And I was like, no, keep that. I think it's from the 20s because that's when this house was built. I kind of like that a lot too. So I'm going to take you out now to, oh, let me show you one more thing. I just found this. Look at this. I just found this in the bowels of the house too, and I think it is for measuring flood waters because this area used to flood. Isn't that interesting? So of course I had to save that. All right, so here we are entering WooHooYa Gardens, the source of so much of my inspiration, and the roses are coming out right now. Oh my God, the smell of them. Oh, it's Pokey. Say hello. Hi, sweetie pie. She's my bestest. We have a couple alivores here for you. And along the way, some more of the roses are blooming. Oh my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you back to something that really features in the Fanciful song, and that is the chandelier. And I found this chandelier at a salvage place, and I knew I had to hang it in the tree. But that's what the song is referring to, is the chandelier hanging in my willow tree. And I also sing in that song about painting, making a painting with leaves. So this is one of the paintings where you use twigs and leaves. You can see, you can kind of use the twigs to apply the paint on, or you can put the paint around the twigs so that and the leaves, you can spray around the leaves so that it gives the sense of the shape of the leaf. Okay, so let's start at the beginning here, taking you all the way back to the entrance. This is one of my favorite things to do. Let's go here, open the gate, because it literally is like Alice in Wonderland or something, or Wizard of Oz, when you open the gate and it's like, ooh, all of a sudden the world is in color. And I put in a lot more flowers this year. We have these new roses. Look at the color. Oh my God, and the smell. The smell is incredible. One of the joys of a garden, I think, is finding all these little secret hidden creatures and treasures. The enormous agave, who I love, his energy is magnificent. This right here is my teak bench, which I had showed you some other years with our garden walkthrough, and I have to tell you, I get a lot of inspiration on this bench sitting right here under the willow tree, as I talk about in Fanciful. I've written a lot of songs here. I wrote Liminal here. I wrote Blue Jay That Summer's Day here. The blue jays were flying all around this bush when I wrote that bridge, the Blue Jay duet, which I'll play for you. I write a lot of my emails to you sitting right here under the willow on this bench, because there's just something magical about this teak wood. It's really ancient. It's like you feel it seeping into you as it's supporting you while you're writing. I wrote Forgetting to Remember lyrics here. I've written music out here, just hearing it in my head, and then I run into the studio really quickly to put it down on, on the piano or on the guitar. But see, look, the roses are coming out. Aren't they wonderful? And my newest obsession is these clematis. To me, it looks like a lady. It looks like a woman wearing a beautiful gown, this clematis on this little arbor here. If you watch Gardener's World, which I adore, that show, they had a special on it about clematis, and it reminded me about how much I love clematis. So I ended up adding that one to the garden. I added one over there, which is not in bloom yet. And this one, look. So yeah, Monty Don of Gardener's World. I kind of have a little crush on him. I love him so much, and I love that show, and it reminded me of how much I love clematis. So I added this beautiful variety, and this was the first clematis that I have. It's been here for a few years, and that's one of the cool things about the clematis is that there are so many varieties of it. There are all these different sizes and colors. It's my little cherub. The clematis is giving a nice hug to. That's kind of like my new favorite thing, clematis. This plant right here is now probably about 8 years old, and it's enormous now. It took a long time, but now I just love the shape. It looks almost prehistoric, and I love how it kind of wraps around the chaise lounge here for when you want to have a nice dream, which is what gardens are really good for too, right? To come out and dream, and you might even dream of an ogre. I have a soft spot for the ogres and for the beasts made of all sorts of materials, such as this guy. He was my very first garden beast. I brought him with me to here from when I lived in a tiny little apartment before I found this wonderful place. One of my newer roses. Oh my God, look at that. I wish you could be here to smell it and to just touch it's just, so magnificent. This back here is also a new addition. It's native to Australia, and I think it's really cool looking. But it does really well here in the California climate because we're pretty dry like Australia, so we can really do well with the native Australian plants, like, you know, these big, beautiful bottle brush trees, which I love so much. And the fountain. The fountain for me is just a very special place for the garden. I just do a morning prayer, walk, meditation around the fountain. Or I'll sit here for a while and Pokey will come and join you like she's right now. Hi, sweetie pie. Oh, yes, I love you too, Bug. Yes. She's my little familiar. She follows me everywhere. You're so cute. Look at, this is also another one of my favorite roses because of that color. It's exquisite. It starts kind of pinkish and then it becomes more lavender as it gets older. And these are just starting to come out. These are the pinks. And I have a yellow one right here. And of course you need to have mushrooms in every garden right next to your magical dragon. Welcome back from your first leg of the garden tour. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And did you enjoy meeting the beasts? The beasts for me are such a big point of inspiration for just life. I love beasts. I love being around their consciousness, like Pokey, my sweet familiar, and you met her. And so this next song that I thought I'd share with you today, Forgetting to Remember, is based on the beasts. And I am 𝗪𝗪𝗂, so I'm all about mythology and symbology and what's beneath the surface and nature as an inspiration, as a nature spirit myself. So Forgetting to Remember is a song about our own inner bestial nature, because we all evolved from the beast, as it were. And there's a part of us that's very raw and untamed. And there's, as we, part of this spiritual alchemy process, we become more refined as we mature. But sometimes when that happens, we forget parts of ourselves that were the wild and the untamed when we were children or younger, going crazy on a dance floor. And a lot of times as people get older, they forget about that part of themselves. So that's what this song is about. And there it goes, I go into much more deconstruction of that whole mechanism in the book. But the song can also just stand on its own about, hey, let's have fun and get wild, right? Like the beasts. And remember this part of ourselves. And in doing that, you're forgetting your other part and you're forgetting to remember. So that's what the title is, Forgetting to Remember. And it was inspired by all of that. And these garden beasts, my dragon and my griffin and Pokey, and I didn't even introduce you to all of them now that I'm thinking about it. I think part of why I love them so much is they're a reminder of that for me. Now, I want to also mention on this song, this features Winter on guitar and on bass. And I'll play the excerpt of his guitar solo, which totally rocks. And Winter is a friend of mine who's a great guitarist and musician. He plays as part of Sharon Knight and Winter. They've been on tour for many years and they're now back in the Bay Area. So I am the lucky recipient of being able to have them collaborate on some of my music. And the drums on this track are played by Scott Colmorgan, who I played in a band in college with. And then in the 90s, he was in the Beat Clinic, which turned into the Caulfields band, and he's still playing drums. So I had him do the drum part on this, and then it features me on the other guitar part and vocals. And then Fran, my amazing Fran, co-producer, maestro, genius, is doing the keyboard part. This song is in 7/4. I had a really good time writing this song and a really good time playing this song because I love 7/4 as a time signature. And I chose that time signature because there's a sense of urgency to the 7/4 because you're missing that one beat. So it just has this sense that it's always like propelling you forward. So I'm going to play this excerpt from the second verse through the bridge into the guitar solo so that you can hear the wonderful Winter's great guitar solo. And this one is mixed, but it's not final. You know, we're still listening on different devices. And like we worked on the kick drum last week to make it more boom, have more compact and have a little bit more punch. I think we might be working on some of the guitar tones some more a little bit. I might tweak some of the vocals still. So this is not final, but that's why you're here, to get the little sneak preview. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Forgetting to Remember.
Before you took on all the fancy mess, your puppet dancing on the street. Find your way back through the labyrinth to 𝗹𝗶𝗃𝗲 familiar. Tear off your masquerade, unveil your face, shining guileless and free. Wild charm and age, shape-shifting grace, surrender and release your peace. Come back to storm and feet where hopes and souls of souls.
goes to the end. So that's probably the most rockin' tune on the album. I call it the indie rock tune. And again, thank you, Winter, for that awesome guitar solo. I love it. Love that guitar solo. I'm so pleased and honored to be able to have him on my album. So I think it might be time to go back out into the garden again for some more garden fun. So let's go.
It's fun.
It is fun.
It's fun.
Hi.
This is 𝗪𝗶𝗂.
Hi, I'm 𝗪𝗶𝗂.
I'm Sharon. And we are playing you a song that we learned about 30 minutes ago. We're just goofing off in the garden on a beautiful day, and we thought we'd share it with you. So it goes like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. When in the springtime of the year, when the trees are crowned with leaves, when the ashen oak and the birch and yew are dressed in ribbons fair, when owls call the breathless moon in the blue veil of the night, the shadows of the trees appear amidst the lantern light. We've been rambling all the night, and sometime of this day, now returning back again, we bring a garland gay. Who will go down to the shady roads and sun in the shadows there, and tie a ribbon on the sheltering rose in the springtime of the year? The songs of the birds seem to fill the wood, but when the fiddler plays, all the voices can be heard long past the woodland days. We've been rambling all the night, and sometime of this day, now returning back again, we bring a garland gay. And so they linked their hands and danced around in circles and in rows. So the journey of the night descends when all the shades are gone. A garland gay we bring you here, and at your door we stand. This is a spout, we'll put it out, the work of Our Lady's hand. We've been rambling all the night, and sometime of this day, now returning back again, we bring a garland gay. We've been rambling all the night, and sometime of this day, now returning back again, we bring a garland gay. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
outside to WooHooYa Studios. I hope you enjoyed that special visitation from Sharon Knight. She's like a garden fairy that showed up. We literally learned that song in 30 minutes and kind of just threw it together, but I thought it was wonderful and fun and that you would really enjoy it too. So thank you, Sharon, for that. And I hope you did enjoy it. I'm actually thinking of maybe doing a cover of a Loreena McKennitt song coming up here because I love her so much. And this is the final song I'm going to show you today from the new album, What Have I Forgotten? And this one I chose also because it's very inspired by the garden, written in the garden. It's called Blue Jay, That Summer's Day, in parentheses. And the reason why it's called that is I was sitting on the teak bench under the willow tree and I could feel something that was bubbling up. I knew I had to write a song, but I didn't even know what it was going to be about. I had no idea about anything. I could just feel that something was there. So I went out on the teak bench and sat down and was like, and nothing. And I sat there for quite a long time. Nothing. And I got kind of despondent, like, oh gosh, what? It's a, that blank plate syndrome, that blank tablet syndrome. And then this little inkling said, why don't you just write about what is actually right in this moment? What's happening right now? What's happening? Be totally present. And so okay, what am I present to? I said, let me just put on some music. I played some Kate Bush music, and the song starts with me putting on Kate Bush music. And all of a sudden, it was the most amazing thing that happened. I started listening to the Kate Bush music. I got inspired. I turned it off, and I started writing these lyrics about exactly what was happening that moment. And as that happened, these blue jays, I have goosebumps right now. These blue jays showed up. Now, I've never had two blue jays in this garden ever. Sometimes I would have one, but they started this very ornate dance and cacophonous duet of their calls to each other right in front of that big bottle brush, the red bottle brush bush, as I sat and watched. And I just started writing about the blue jays showing up and their cacophonous duet that you'll hear in this song. And then I finished out the song of this whole moment that was just captured in this time, this special, incredible moment. They were gone. The song was written, and I was just kind of in awe about what happened because it started with nothing. And when I opened myself up to this presence of nothing, this thing poured in. It was so wonderful. And I write more about it in the book, about some of the amazing synchronicities that happened between that Kate Bush song that I was listening to too, and how that interacts with this song. I came in, I knew I wanted harpsichord on it. So I sat down at the keyboard and I started playing the harpsichord part, and the whole song musically then started unfolding and I wrote it in a 3x6. It goes between 3/8 and 6/8. So it's essentially a 9/8, but you can also express it 3/8, 6/8. It moves between those two time signatures. And I wrote this whole harpsichord part that has this kind of Bach quality to it. And I knew then all of a sudden I realized, oh my God, I'm going to have a blue jay duet that's this counterpoint, because Bach is very full of counterpoint music. And obviously harpsichord is from that similar era of, early classical period, late Baroque. So there's a Baroque quality to this too. So we added harp, we have harpsichord, which I played, and then harp, which Fran played. I am thinking of maybe inviting a harp player to add her harp to it. And then we laid in some cello and viola, and then some percussion, and we have the piece. So I'm going to start it from the second verse, after the blue jays showed up, that goes into what I call the blue jay duet, which I had so much fun putting together. It's basically this vocal duet that kind of darts back and forth as the voices of the birds intertwine. So do my different vocal parts intertwine, and we have it panning in the speakers. And I'm kind of tempted to play you the a cappella thing of that first before you hear the whole thing. So let me do that because I think that's kind of cool. Let's see here. Where are these vocals? Here they are. Let me open up the vocal folder. All right. So here we have the Blue Jay first vocals and the Blue Jay second vocals. So let's start with their duet first. You can hear just the voices. Okay, there's our Blue Jay duet in a cappella. Also, we have not finalized the reverb yet. That's just a reverb that I threw on for now. So, because this is totally not mixed, by the way. You're hearing this right off the raw, off the board. So that was the Blue Jay duet. And then now I'm going to play you the whole thing with the harpsichord, the harp, the strings, the bass, double bass, and percussion, starting from the verse that leads into that Blue Jay duet. Okay, here we go.
And from the broken shards, I pick out a fragment while he screams at me over and over and over and over and over, calling in his conspirator a cacophonous party, and people knowing improvisation incessant and demanding, up and down, here and
The Blue Jay duet. I've been emailing you about it. I've been posting about it, and now you've heard it. So that is Blue Jay That Summer's Day in its rough mixed form and inspired by the WooHooYa Gardens. And it's really a song about being in the now. And how those moments when you are in the now are in some of the best moments of life. And I'm finding that this whole album has this quality of the temporal, fleeting temporal nature of life. And, what have I forgotten? It's this recapturing of parts of yourself that you're forgetting so that you can do this like a shamanistic soul retrieval. And the more you can gather your parts of yourself, the more complete you are, and then the more you can be in the now. So that is, I think, a summation of all of this stuff that I just showed you today. And I hope you had a wonderful visit. I love having you here so much. And I love your notes and your emails and your comments and everything. And any way that we can try to connect via this virtual world, I'm doing my darndest to try to do that more as possible. I actually am just starting to show up on TikTok. If you want to join me there too, I'm posting some stuff there. It's an interesting platform, has its own language, so I'm learning how to communicate in that language as well, again, so that I can connect, because that's very important to me, that we all connect in our love for music, this beautiful world we live in. Thank you for being here, and I hope you have a magnificent, magnificent day.